welcome to today's Tech Talk for Nonprofits on AI and grant writing. We're so glad you could join us for this conversation. Today's session will be recorded and will be available on our website soon for you to revisit or share with your teams. We have so much incredible content to get through today, so I'm going to kick us off with some brief introductions and announcements. Before we dive in, a quick note about questions. You can enter them into the Q&A function at any time during today's presentation. We've set aside around 15 minutes after the content to get through as many of those questions as we can. My name is Sarah Sanford. I'm the Director of Operations for NCW Tech Alliance. Our nonprofit's mission is to connect people and technology to help communities thrive. We provide programs and services in technology, entrepreneurship, and STEM education across North Central Washington. And we're always looking for ways to connect nonprofits with tools and trainings like this. AI is opening up so many new possibilities every day, and we're especially focused on creating opportunities for continued learning. So I'd love to share a couple of those with you today. So the AI Skillathon is running now through to September 30th. It's a free online challenge where you can take AI and digital skills courses, earn certificates, and even compete for cash prizes as individuals or as teams. So it's a really fun learning opportunity. And we're also offering an AI in Action virtual workshop series following our in-person AI Expo. And these 3 90-minute sessions in September, October, and November will feature real-world use cases, live demos, breakout sessions, and resource toolkits. So you can learn more about both of these opportunities at our website, ncwtech.org, and I'll also be sending out the slides today following today's session too. So you'll have all of this information in a recap email. And before I introduce our very special guest speaker for today, I'd love to introduce our partner, the Nonprofit Practices Institute. They're here to help nonprofit organizations across North Central Washington strengthen their skills and grow their potential with affordable and accessible trainings, workshops, and networking opportunities. And next month, they're hosting the powerful process of building budgets, 2 financial workshops, one in Wenatchee and one in Twisp in September. So you can find more details about this on their website, cfncw.org. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you our special guest speaker, Allison Jones. Allison is the founder and CEO of Spark the Fire grant writing classes and one of only 30 trainers nationally approved by the Grant Professionals Certification Institute. With over 2 decades of experience in grant writing and nonprofit management, she brings a dynamic teaching style and a passion for making grant writing accessible. So please join me in welcoming Allison. I'm going to stop share right now. And Allison, I'll hand it over to you.
Perfect. Great. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Perfect. Well, everyone, thank you so much for being here. We've got such a great turnout today. I'm really happy to be here. I'm Allison Jones. I'm CEO and founder of Spark the Fire grant writing classes. And now, usually when I say grant writing, people either lean in with curiosity or they start plotting their escape route. So don't worry. I promise this won't be painful. In fact, today we're going to talk about something that makes it has the power to make grant writing a whole lot easier, and that is AI, artificial intelligence. And before you panic, no, I'm not here to tell you that robots are taking over your proposals. What I am here to share is how you can use AI in a way that is smart, ethical, and practical. Tools that help us, not replace us. Think of it like having a really fast, slightly quirky intern who works for free and doesn't need coffee breaks. So I was already introduced, but just a little bit about my background. I'm an accredited and approved trainer with the Grant Professional Certification Institute, Grant Professional Association, CFRE, and 501 Commons. I've been writing grants for more than 2 decades, but I didn't start out in this world. My career began as a social worker. And like many in the field, I stumbled into grant writing almost by accident. And honestly, I'm so glad I did, because I have the chance to turn this into decades of deeply meaningful work. And that's what I really love about grant writing is, the power of the pen, that instead of helping one person at a time as a social worker, I get to write grants and help tons of people every day. And so now I get to do my favorite part, which is to pass my knowledge on to others. So because I'm a college professor, I can't help myself. I always like to start with learning objectives. So for today, here's our game plan. First, we're going to start with a quick AI overview and answer some of the most common questions about using AI in grant writing. And then we're going to look at some specific AI tools and how you can actually put them to work. And then I'll share some tried and true writing prompts that play especially well with grant writing. And then finally, we'll wrap up with a conversation on using AI in ways that are smart, practical, and most importantly, ethical. So if that sounds good, we will dive in. So just quickly, what is AI? Artificial intelligence is a technology that mimics human intelligence. It processes information, it generates text, and it assists with tasks like writing and research. Many of you may have already be using AI, and you might not even realize it if you've ever asked Siri for directions or let Gmail finish your sentence. Congratulations, you have dabbled in AI. One of the questions I hear a lot is, can AI write a full grant proposal for you? Well, AI can definitely draft something, but here's the catch. It really needs your input, your strategy, and your personal touch to meet the funder expectations. What it can do is help create outlines, predict rubrics, even draft paragraphs or sections of your grant proposal if you give it the right information to work with. Think of it as a co-pilot, not the captain. Is AI going to replace human grant writers? Honestly, not a chance. AI is great for efficiency, but grant writing is more than words on a page. It involves storytelling and strategy and relationship building with grant makers, and that's the human magic, and no algorithm is ever going to be able to replace that. Can AI help me if I've never written a grant before? Yes, but with a caveat. You still need to learn how grants work so you know whether AI is doing it correctly. Otherwise, it's kind of like letting GPS drive your car. It'll get you somewhere, but it maybe not where you meant to go. So what AI can help you do is it can help you structure a proposal if you give it clear parameters. It can help spark ideas if you give it a starting point, and it can refine your language if you tell it what tone you want to use. So it's a helpful tool for beginners, and it's a huge time saver for seasoned grant writers. Last question, is using AI in grant writing ethical? Yes, as long as we use it responsibly. And that means fact checking everything, personalizing the content with strong prompts, and revising until it really reflects your organization's voice and values. AI is not a shortcut, it's a drafting partner that works best when guided by human expertise. Let's talk about iteration. I don't think I even knew the word iteration until I started really getting into AI. And it's just a fancy way of saying try, adjust, and try again. In the AI world, it means giving your chatbot more instructions after each attempt so that you get closer and closer to the result that you actually want. And here's the truth, you're probably not going to get exactly what you want the first time. AI is helpful, but it's not a mind reader. You have to be patient and you have to keep refining your prompt. But the good news is that every time you do this, you're essentially training your chatbot of choice. And we'll talk about different options for chatbots in just a minute. But you're essentially training your chatbot on your style and on your preferences. So the more you iterate, the faster you'll get results that feel spot on. I want to talk about ethics because the Grant Professionals Association, which I'm a avid member, has weighed in on how we should be using AI responsibly in grant writing. And so first, grant professionals need to be aware of the fine print, the terms and conditions of whatever AI tool you're using. Data, privacy, and confidentiality are non-negotiable. So translation, never ever feed your chatbot confidential information. If you wouldn't want it on a billboard, don't put it into ChatGPT. Second, your use of AI has to line up with both your organization's policies and the law. So think HIPAA here. Confidentiality isn't just polite, it's the law. And third, verification is critical. AI can sound really confident while being completely wrong. And that's what we call AI hallucinations. So if your chatbot gives you a dazzling statistic or a convincing fact, always double check the source, excuse me, before you include it. And finally, be sure to respect intellectual property. That means no plagiarism. So if you are using specific language or phrasing that AI is putting onto your chatbot that comes from another source, you have to cite it just like you would any other context. The big takeaway is that AI can absolutely be a valuable tool, but only if we use it in a way that aligns with our professional ethical standards. And that's how we're going to maintain trust and credibility and integrity in grant writing. If you feel a little bit uncomfortable with AI, you're really not alone. I ask my students all the time how they feel about AI, and it often turns into a very heated discussion. People are very opinionated about AI. But here's the thing, you're probably already using it every day without even realizing it. So if you take writing tools like Grammarly, it's powered by AI. It quietly fixes your grammar and smooths your tone and makes you sound more polished. Even Microsoft Word and Google Docs are sneaking in AI with their predictive suggestions. When your computer finishes your sentence before you do, that's AI at work. Research, same story. Google Search and Google Scholar both use AI algorithms to refine your results and nudge you toward the most relevant sources. Citation managers like Zotero and Mendeley rely on AI to keep references neat and tidy. And even platforms like Notion or Evernote use AI to organize your notes so you don't drown in sticky notes and half-finished outlines. Let's see. So I don't know if you know this, but did you know that 90% of foundations don't even have a website? So that means that you could spend weeks searching on the internet for grant opportunities and still miss them. And that's why I'm such a huge fan of Instrumental, and that's the last box here. Instrumental is a grant research database or a prospect research database. It uses AI to uncover and track grants that you wouldn't find otherwise, and it organizes them into one place. Honestly, I think it's one of the best tools out there for grant writers. So the truth is, most of us are already using AI in little ways. The next step is simply deciding how to use it intentionally, especially in our grant writing, to make our work smarter, faster, and more impactful. So I mentioned Instrumental. I love Instrumental because it's like having a grant research assistant who never sleeps. It has the most funders of any database out there, over 418,000. That's an incredible reach. And remember when I said 90% of foundations don't even have a website? Instrumental finds those funders for you. Second, it has a mapping feature that lets you see exactly where funders are giving. And that means that you can target the funders who actually invest in your community or your type of project, no more chasing dead ends. Third, it's not just a research tool, it's a collaboration tool. And this is something that I really love. You can assign tasks, you can set deadlines, you can keep your whole team on track right inside of Instrumental. And one of my favorite features is instead of having to go to the database to do searches, once you set up your project in Instrumental, kind of telling it what it is that you're looking for, what you want to fund and where, you'll actually start getting email updates with brand new prospect ideas every week. So instead of scouring the internet for opportunities, these opportunities are going to come straight to you. I'm also one of only 3 people who can offer a free 3-week trial instead of the usual 2 weeks. So if you've ever wanted to test drive Grant Research Database, this is the time to do it. You can use this QR code to sign up for free. And so if you want to check that out, I hope that you will give that a chance. And just seeing a question in the chat, I'll answer it live. Is Instrumental relevant for organizations outside of the US? A little bit, but not much. For example, if you're in Canada, there are better tools to use than Instrumental. GrantStation, for example, has a specific database that's for Canada specifically. So let's jump into some AI tools. These are some AI tools you might not have known about that could be helpful in your work. And my advice is to just try out a few and see which ones fit your personal style, because just like shoes, the right fit makes all the difference. The first one is Grantable. Grantable is one of my favorite for grant writers. It's made specifically for our world. You can upload grants you've already written. You can pull out sections to reuse in new proposals. It's especially handy for squeezing into character limits, polishing up your writing, and keeping your formatting consistent. ChatGPT, of course, is a very versatile tool. It can help you brainstorm ideas, answer questions, draft content based on your prompts. And with the right guidance, it can even help structure and refine your grant proposals. Fundwriter.ai. This is more on the fundraising side. It's built to quickly generate donor outreach, email campaigns, and impact reports. It's basically the kind of persuasive content that keeps your supporters engaged. Bard AI and Microsoft Bing are also useful. These are also chatbots. They can help with research. Bing has a unique edge. It pulls in real-time information from the web, and that means it can be more current than tools that are trained on older data. Jasper is another strong option, especially if you wear a marketing hat, because it helps generate blog posts, social media content, and other promotional copy. And it's really designed to help you scale your content while keeping your quality high. And then finally, I wanted to mention Claude. I'm a little bit newer to Claude, but I'm absolutely loving it. This tool was designed with ethics and safety at the top of mind, which makes it a great first option if you're at all wary about AI. It handles text analysis, content generation, and more, but it has a focus on being helpful and responsible. Now, full disclosure, I'm currently subscribed to both ChatGPT and Claude. And honestly, I'm still torn between them. ChatGPT it's lightning fast and it's super easy to use. But Claude has a prettier interface. And get this, they actually have a philosopher on staff to make sure that the responses that they are giving you are uplifting. I mean, how many tech companies can say that? So whether you're drafting proposals, brainstorming ideas, or managing communications, there's probably an AI tool out there that can lighten your load. And here's the secret. No matter which tool you use, the real magic comes from how you prompt it. And that is where we're headed next. So let's switch gears and talk about practical ways to actually harness AI in your grant writing. So first up, research and idea generation. AI is really amazing for brainstorming and digging deeper into the fine print. You can ask it to summarize funder guidelines. You can have it highlight anything that might be easily missed. You can even have it walk you through how to submit your proposal, formatting instructions and all. So to do something like this, you would actually take the RFP that is in a PDF format or in a Word format. You would load it into your AI chat. There's a lot of them have the option to upload a document. So you would actually upload your document and then prompt it to do one of those things. For example, walk me through how to submit this proposal in terms of formatting instructions. AI can also help you spot grant opportunities outside the parameters of traditional databases like Foundation Directory Online by Candid. All of these tools are super powerful, but they may not use AI, so they're limited to the categories and the filters that they've built in. And so just as an example, one day I was looking for funding for a musical instrument borrowing library. Think of it's like a book library, only instead of books, there's musical instruments. And as I was searching through those databases, I wasn't turning up anything useful beyond the regular arts, culture, music. And when I type in libraries, it would automatically go to book libraries. So I decided to describe the project to AI, and it surfaced viable prospects I would have never found otherwise. And that's really the value of adding AI alongside the usual databases. Even the best ones like Instrumental are using AI, and that really makes them stand out. AI also shines at summaries. So copy and paste your full proposal in or upload the document, as I said earlier. Depending on which tool you are using, then you can ask it to do things like create an executive summary. You can even specify the length or what you'd like in each paragraph. It's like having an editor that never complains about word counts. Next, I wanted to talk about outlining and structuring proposals. AI can build grant templates, it can build frameworks, it can even help you build logic models for your project. And that's something that I really emphasize as I'm teaching my students, is to use a logic model, or I have a version of I call it the framework. It's a version of a logic model that helps you plan out your grant in advance. What information is going in what section, and how do you weave storytelling into the framework and the logic model. So you can actually feed your chat data and ask it to put everything into a table. You can specify what you want in each row and column. And sometimes I don't even give it instructions just to see what it comes up with. For example, I'll just say, put this information into a logical table, and it can really surprise you with some different ideas you might not have thought of. It's also great for work plans. When I have my students write grants, we always have a work plan that's structured in a chronological list that has milestones that lead to each objective, suggested timelines, and even assigning tasks by job title. So you can ask your chatbot to create a work plan based on what your objectives are, and to make these suggestions for timelines and stuff. And then you just go back in and you refine it in a way that helps and that works for your timeline and the things that you want to do. And if you struggle with writing goals or SMART objectives, being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound objectives, AI can give you a running start. Finally, editing and refining proposals. AI can check your proposal for readability. It can spot jargon that might need to be explained, and it can also just help adjust your tone. One of my favorite tricks is to have AI assess a proposal's strengths and weaknesses, and then suggest ways to improve it. So if your writing is too stiff and formal, it can help you sound more conversational. And if your tone is too casual, it can dial up the professionalism. The bottom line, AI isn't just about speed, it's about making your proposal sharper, clearer, and more funder-friendly. So here are some things you'll want to tell your AI tool before you start writing the prompts. Think of this as giving your AI a roadmap. The more directions you provide upfront, the more effective and useful it becomes. And what I've noticed is I had to do this more at the beginning of using a new tool, telling it its role, defining your goal, setting the tone. But after you've got your chatbot trained, you might find that you don't really need to do this very often unless you're just updating it, for example. But we'll walk through each of these steps in detail in just a moment. But here's my quick tip for my own practice. I actually trained my ChatGPT to prompt me. So every time I start a new project, I tell it we're starting fresh. Ask me the getting started questions. I'm typing that in. And then it does. It asks, what is your goal? What tone do you want? What are the specific instructions? What's the context, the meaning? Tell me about the organization or project. And finally, what needs to be refined? And that way it turns into this back and forth conversation where it's prompting me a question and I'm answering it. And I really find that quite useful by asking, you have to ask it to remember the getting started questions and then prompt it to give you the questions one at a time. And so now we're just going to go through those questions and talk about how you would answer the questions once your chatbot is asking them. So the first step is to define your goal. And that's really about knowing what you want from ChatGPT before you even start typing. So do you need a summary, a creative idea, help with research? The clearer you are about the outcome, the more useful your response is going to be. So for example, for a fundraising email, don't just say, write me a fundraising email. Instead, tell your chatbot that you want to persuade your donors, or better yet, give it a theme. Maybe you want to inspire donors by highlighting empowerment and resilience. Number 2, set the tone. So the tone shapes how your message feels to your reader. Do you want it formal, friendly, humorous, or professional? I like to tell it that I'm a witty professor. So I want my tone to sound that way, like your favorite professor in college sounded. Specifying the tone makes sure that your content actually matches your audience. So you could say, write a formal email or use a conversational upbeat tone, etc. Number 3, be specific. You want to give it specific instructions. So the clearer and more detailed your instructions, the better response you'll get. So for example, instead of asking for tips for fundraising, you could ask for 5 creative tips for engaging new donors through social media. So you can see the difference. One is going to give you a vague list. The other is going to give you actionable ideas that you can actually use. Number 4 is to provide context. So context is what helps AI get it. So without it, you'll get generic answers that could apply to anyone. With it, you'll get content that actually makes sense for you. So for example, you could say, write a grant for safe futures, and you would get something extremely generic, probably boilerplate language. But if you say, write a grant proposal for safe futures, a nonprofit that operates in under-resourced communities, they run programs that teach families how to grow their own food, cook healthy meals on a budget, and share receipts with neighbors. The organization has already helped hundreds of families become more self-sufficient and confident. You'll notice a big difference by providing more of the content. And then finally, iterate and refine. So here's the reality. You probably won't get the perfect response the first try, and that's okay. AI works best when you give it an iterative process. So repeating the steps, making tweaks, and keeping improving. I feel like I'm going to sneeze, but I'm not. Okay. Woo. All right. So I see that I'm running out of time. I'm going to make sure that I'm not repeating anything. AI can improve your writing without losing your voice if you use iteration. AI can help you with research and finding funders. It can help you with budgeting and financial sections, but use caution. Financial details will always require human oversight. But AI can help save time with formatting and calculations. It can calculate indirect costs based on a percentage. It can brainstorm possible expenses for a project budget, or it can even review your budget, your grant budget, for areas that need clarification. AI can make sure that your text is accurate and persuasive. Just be sure that you fact check, you align, and you refine. You always want to verify the accuracy of AI content. And so what that means to me is that if I, for example, ask AI to help find a citation for a statement like, oh, I was just working with a student that wanted to find research on how concrete feeding troughs would make it safer for workers on a ranch. And I wanted to find some research to back that up. I asked ChatGPT, it gave me links. I always go and I click on those links and read what the research says and make sure that there's an actual link to an actual article and that what it's summarizing is actually what the article said. AI can hallucinate, it can make up things, so make sure that you're double checking everything. And let's see. I think the overall theme here, this common theme is it's the human touch. AI is a powerful tool. It can help with research, drafting, editing, and organizing, but it's never going to replace the human touch that makes grant writing truly effective. As of now, there are no funders that are requiring AI disclosure. So if somebody has seen that somewhere, please let me know. But I've been trying to stay on top of this. And the short answer is that as of right now, there's no known grant makers requiring applicants to disclose AI use. Funders are really focused on what matters. They want you to have quality drafts, a quality proposal. They care about clarity, alignment with their mission, and the potential impact of your project. They don't care whether you used AI to brainstorm or polish a draft. And in fact, some grant makers, including someone named Claire that I've talked to at the foundation that's helping to sponsor this, this webinar, have actually said that they encourage people to use AI. Because it saves time, it can improve your proposal quality, and it can identify your funding opportunities. And that would be, by the way, the Community Foundation of North Central Washington. So it kind of helps level the playing field for organizations that don't have maybe grant writers on staff or a full development team. It's going to make your work, your grant writing more efficient, faster. And so go ahead and use that. Okay. So smart practices, remember AI is a tool, it's not a replacement. This is kind of a summary as we're wrapping up, and then we're going to head into some questions. Use it to support your work, but never replace your own judgment. Fact check everything. AI can be very confident and completely wrong. Don't let your writing sound like AI. When I first started using AI, I noticed that the drafts were a little stiff and repetitive. So I asked my chatbot to vary the sentence structure, broaden the vocabulary, and even to try out different tones. Fourth, be transparent and ethical. Never, and I know you would never do this, but never submit an unreviewed AI-generated proposal. Protect sensitive information, never feed it confidential details, and remember that AI can carry hidden bias, so keep your critical thinking hat on. Fifth, don't cut corners. AI can make you more efficient, but it should never be the final decision maker. Use it for drafting and brainstorming and polishing, not necessarily for strategy. And finally, learn and adapt. AI is evolving really quickly, so stay current. Experiment with new tools. Ask your colleagues if they're using and how they're using AI. You might pick up new ideas and avoid falling behind. So we've covered kind of all that I wanted to cover in the presentation. So I want to open it up for some questions. We've talked about what AI is and how it can support your grant writing process. We've looked at tools. We've covered some practical strategies, and we've addressed some of the biggest myths and fears. I do have a resource that you might be interested in. I've put together an ebook called 50 Plus AI Prompts That Elevate Your Grant Writing. It's a practical guide to leveraging AI prompts for grant writing, building stronger funding relationships, and sharpening your strategic communications. This is truly a must-have tool if you're ready to take what we've talked about today and put it into action. And the best part is that it's only $9.97. So you can grab your copy at sparkthefiregrantwriting.com, or you can scan this QR code. And now I'm going to open it up for questions. So I'd love for you to remember to check out the Spark the Fire website. We offer a variety of online classes, including our certificate and grant writing course, which has been rated the best grant writing course in the nation. I'm very proud about that, by Instrumental, for 4 years running. And I also have a course on how to start a freelance grant writing business. You'll find fresh content every week. I have a new blog once a week, monthly webinars, and ebooks and templates, lots of resources. So, and then finally, I have a new community, and this is a free place where, as a grant writer, we're really facing burnout a lot of the time and just need connection. So this is a free place where you can go and be around other grant writers and connect with your peers who understand what you're going through. So learn more about all of these resources at sparkthefiregrantwriting.com. And I am now going to take a look at the questions. Okay, so William asked, after you iterate several prompts, can you add the prompts up in one prompt for the next job to get a finished product closer? Yes, absolutely, you can do that. And in fact, they say that saves a little bit of the processing time, which kind of can be a heavy load on the environment. So for example, you can just, for example, say, repeat the same thing and give it the new information that you want it to do that with. So yes, absolutely, William. Marty asked, does Instrumental do the same as some of the AI tools, or do you use both for AI? Great question, Marty. I am currently subscribed to Instrumental for the grant research aspect and the project management, grant management aspect of the grant writing business. And then I'm also subscribed to 2 chatbots. I really only need one. I need to choose between them, either ChatGPT or Claude. I know everyone's got their favorites. I know a lot of people like Bard and so on and so forth, and they're all wonderful. So you just find one that kind of fits your personality. Let's see, we've got Jackie asks, I'm having a hard time getting to the website. Do you have an option which AI tool is better than another? While there are these, specialized tools that I mentioned, and I'll just walk back to this slide super quick, like Grantable, Fundraiser AI, these are specialized tools, but I would start with just a chatbot. A chatbot can do all of these things. The specialized tools like fundraiser.ai and Grantable that kind of helps you write your grant, I would call them more of a bonus app. Yeah. Let's see. Sarah, how are we doing?
We're doing great. We've got about 6 more minutes, so
Okay.
I think we can get through some more of these great questions that are coming in.
All right, I'll keep going. When AI offers you a fact, do they provide sources? If you ask it to, Susie. So I always, for example, say, show me the citation or give me a hyperlink to the reference so that I can click on that and go find it. William asks, if you upload a RFP, can you ask AI to notice the context of the RFP and set the tone based on the RFP? Absolutely, and that's a great idea. One of the things we talk about in grant writing is matching the tone and jargon and so on of our funder. So by feeding the RFP into your AI and then asking it to mimic that in terms of your tone and language, brilliant, brilliant, William, love that. Susie, do any of the AI tools provide sources to facts? Yes, so I think I just covered that one. Just ask it to give you the citation. I get help from a great grant writer. Can I upload one of their grants and ask AI to set the tone or some better prompt to match their tone? Absolutely. Yeah, you can do that. Paul G. Allen Foundation asked about an AI question for their youth grant. It's my first and only time that I've seen it. Okay, interesting. And so I think some of these companies are just trying to understand how people are using AI for their own benefit. And it could be that. I don't think that they're necessarily against it. They're just gathering information. It's kind of like, oh, hi, Kim. It's kind of like, have you started seeing this question that's asking at the end of the grant application, how long did it take you to complete this proposal? It's like, I'm not going to tell you. Like, is it good that it took a long time, or is it good that it took a short time? I don't even know how to answer that. I think that grant makers are trying to gather information, and the hope is that they're trying to make their applications easier for us and faster to fill out, is their point. But yeah, so thanks, Kim, for that question. Let's see, Terry, the welcome trust. Oh, you've pasted a trust. Applicants must declare any use of generative AI when preparing funding proposals, except when AI is only used for language assistance, improving AI English, or translating. Interesting. Reviewers are strictly prohibited from uploading proposal content or related confidential materials, and keep their project description and how they use generative AI in preparing the proposal. So I would kind of default to that you used it to improve your English or your translating. You might mention that you used it to help with brainstorming. I'm not really sure why they're asking it. And actually one of the slides that I skipped, and I'm just gonna, like, I know we don't have time, but just briefly, AI detectors do not work. I've tested them myself. I can't find the slide, so I'm not going to worry about it. I actually took a proposal that I've written that I didn't use AI, and it said that I was 84% a robot. And so out of curiosity, I went back and I found a grant that I had written in like 2003. And I also put that into AI detector, and it still said that I was a robot. So this is a type of language. I mean, when you're writing grant proposals, it's not conversational necessarily. It's kind of a cross between technical writing and persuasive writing. And so, yeah, it's going to say that you're a robot, and you're clearly not. So I'm not even sure how an trust like that would be able to even tell if you were using it. So anyway, I guess be careful, disclose what you feel like you need to. Don't use it if it's asking you not to. How do we get the 3-week free versus the 2-week? It only brought up the 2 weeks. So I will send out a link to that in the follow-up so that everyone can get that free 3-week trial to Instrumental. Thank you for asking about that. How did I not know you have a community? Oh, hi, Marty. Thanks for mentioning that. I do have a community. Do you offer any kind of financial assistance for grant writing courses? Yes, I do have a scholarship program. So if you'd like to learn more about that, feel free to email me. I'm going to type my email in the chat. It's allison@sparkthefiregrantwriting.com.
And I can also include your email in the recap email to Allison.
Great, perfect. Yeah, let's do that because it's not letting me. It's not letting me do that. Can Instrumental help organizations invite only funding opportunities? Yes. It can certainly help you identify which opportunities are invite only. And I've written some articles on my blog about how to handle invite only, how to get an introduction or some tips for that. So you might want to check that out, Katie. And I can include that link as well in the follow up. What do you think? One more, or shall we stop here, Sarah?
Maybe one more.
Okay. Um, Stefani says, I've been using ChatGPT without an account. Did you create an account for yours? What are the advantages of that? I did create an account. If you create an account, it's going to start learning from what you're doing. So you're training your chatbot. Also, very importantly, you want to go into the back settings of whatever chatbot you're using and turn off the toggle that says learn from what I'm writing. That's going to help protect your information. So I think you can only do that with an account. I'm not sure about that. I think it probably varies with what tool you're using, but that's a good tip. Turn off so that it cannot learn from what you're typing in. All right, Sarah, back to you.
Thank you so much, Allison, and thank you for all the incredible questions from our attendees. This was such an insightful and informative session. I'm so grateful to have you on today. Thank you for sharing all of your knowledge and your wisdom with us. And I got a couple of questions in the chat about whether the recording is going to be available and your slides. And yes, the recording will be available on our website in probably about a week, and we'll share that link with Allison so you can share that across your networks too. And we'll send a recap email and try to answer some of those questions. I copied the ones that we didn't quite get to today as well. So we'll see if we can get some of those answered too. But I'm so grateful for you. Thank you for sharing all of this with our community, Allison. It was fantastic. And thank you to everyone for joining us.
Thank you, Sarah. This was really fun.
Perfect. All right. Have a great rest of your day, Allison and everyone.
You
See you
too.
soon.